Welcome to the world of spirit. I'm Steve Hermann, International Spirit Medium. Join me today into an exciting adventure into the fascinating world of psychic phenomena and spiritual mediumship. Your loved ones and friends, even people who you don't like that much, are able to come through. This television show chronicles my experiences as a psychic medium. So join me today as we enter into the world of spirit.
Yes?
Okay. I'm just going to say one thing before we actually start working with you. And this applies to everyone. If I were a telemarketer and I called you at dinner time, what would you do?
Hang up.
You'd hang up, wouldn't you? So if I come to you, it actually helps to be able to hear the sound of your voice. And may I hear your voice again, please?
Hello, can I help you?
Okay, God bless you. Yeah, the first thing I am feeling is I am touching into your vibration. I feel like it's raining and it's pouring. You know, the old man is snoring, but you're protected and you're surrounded. And I have a lady who comes through here from the world of the spirit. I actually have a gentleman too. I've got two different people coming in. And I feel with the gentleman, he's a bigger fellow than me. I feel almost like I'm a police officer involved in law enforcement because I'm in this neighborhood. And I'm in a neighborhood where they don't want me there. It's almost like I go into that neighborhood, I'm a target. You know, they're going to literally get me. And I feel like I'm on one of these like 1970s or 60s cop types of shows. Like, what is it? Dragnet, yes, or Mannix or one of these types of things. But I do feel this particular gentleman, he checked out on people. You know, if I were living in that neighborhood and I were in problems, it's not his beat. He went out of his way and he would check up on people. And I feel he's bringing in someone from the world of spirit, and I felt like my entire intestinal stomach here was swelling. I feel like I've taken, I'm not sure if it's heroin or God knows what it was, but someone would have actually taken the stuff in and it would have passed them over into the world of spirit. It's almost like they couldn't get rid of it, so they took it all in. Now, he's bringing this person, but he worked with people like that when he was here in the world of the physical, and I just feel he got them out of that bad place. But he would go into these places, but there was a lot of, you know, it's like I have to watch my back. And he comes in. Now, they're showing me Joe Nemeth. Remember Joe Nemeth? And I want to give you the name of Joseph from the world of the spirit, but I also want to talk about someone who, he's a big fellow, and it's you know, it's like I've played the football, but I can actually coach them, because he's surrounded by kids. They're probably like 10, 12-year-old boys as he comes in from spirit. I feel like I want to train. He's bringing in, it's a dog from the world of spirit. The ears go down like this. I'm not sure the breed. It looked quite, it reminds me of those, I don't know if it's a lab per se, but it's almost like more of an oranger type of yellowish type of complexion with the fur. And I do have someone who actually was a lady who was actually involved in breeding the dogs as well. Now, when I was first touching in, there was a lady that also touched through here from the world of the spirit that came in with the gentleman even though they're separate. And I felt the spirituality because I feel like I want to bring people into my living room and I want to speak to them about God. And this particular lady, she's going to go around the group, have every single one of them talk about their views, you know, their personal philosophies. And this lady wasn't into hitting anyone over the head to convert them. She wanted to, it's almost like if someone's misdirected in life, she wanted to get them going toward the truth. You're coming from the same type of place. And I'm seeing all these little flashes of lights around you. And I just want to say here that you're seeing the same thing. So they're experimenting with you right now. And your eyes are not playing tricks on you. You don't need to get glasses because there's almost like some question like, God, do I need, you know, to have some type of eye examination and get glasses? I feel you actually are opening up you know, with your own mediumship, your own psychic abilities, and they're working with you, okay? And I just want to say that whatever you've done the last 15, 20-year period, you're going to see that the energy you've put in, the fruits are going to be there. You understand what we're talking about this? And I feel with this lady, as she comes in, she saw the good in everyone. And I was tasting honey, out of all things, and I have someone who comes in here, and he's got a giant hive. And he's talking about some, I'm not sure if this was uncle, who it was, but he went in, he was all protected, but this area wasn't. And the bees all went here and they would have actually stung him here. And I just want to say that he deserved it. Because if I were a lady, this man's going to almost want to touch me inappropriately. You know, it's like a joke, but it isn't a joke within a social context. And the memories I get with that go back more into the 1960s type of period. Okay, you understand what I'm talking about with all, you can recognize this. Just say yes.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, don't be quiet. You're not a corpse. You're not dead.
No,
right?
I'm just thinking.
Yeah, but
about what
you understand the people. You can recognize those people. Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay. And there's a lot of people around you. Now you have someone else who comes in here. When I talked about the clairvoyance, he's an Indian. You know, and it's funny because I see the headdress, but it's like the feathers. They're all straight that comes in here. And he works with you. There's also an older lady that's a relative tie that was Native American that comes through here from the world of the spirit. And I just want to say with this particular lady, she never pretended that she was not, anything else. She was very proud of that. And if people didn't like it, that was her own problem. That was her own, that was their problem. The other thing I am being shown here is a memory of a gentleman. And I want to describe, it's like I'm making canoes. Now, it's almost like Native American types of canoes. But I'm talking about someone who literally, if I needed a canoe built, this guy would actually know how to build it. Now that's within the family, and I'm going back with it because I'm looking at the canoes, but they're longer than the typical type of one, that one might buy at Walmart or whatever. But again, this was some type of, it's like a trade, it's like a trade, it's a skill that would have been passed down. Do you understand? Because I feel almost like I'm cutting down the wood, and I'm actually making these types of things. And that's going back a bit when I sense that. That goes in with the lady, but it's from that side of the family, all right? And that would be a gentleman.
Okay.
Right? You understand what I'm talking about with that. So I'm going to leave with all that. I could go and we'd be here till midnight.
Yeah, I'm sure
We'd
you
have
could.
to shut up. I mean, there's so many people. And that lady that works with you, the groups, the teaching, you're going to be doing the similar thing. But you need to just realize that some of these people, they're there to cause trouble. You don't want them in the groups. You understand? Wrong kind of energy. So I'm going to leave you with all that and say, okay. God bless you. Where do I gotta go to you? May I come to you, please?
Yes. Okay,
God bless you. Because I mean this nice, I feel like I just want to hold you. And there's a lot of people around you in the world of spirit. And I just want to say here that sometimes when a relationship doesn't go the way we would want it to go, it's actually a very good thing. And there's a man that comes through here who would like to skin someone alive. Right? You feel like a grandfather. Yeah, he's a little guy, but he gets all worked up. And he wants vengeance. I mean this in a nice way, but he's like that. Be like, let's say you were 12, you go on a date with some guy who's a jerk. He'll go like, punch the guy out. I mean, he kind of takes things into his own hands. But he also comes in with a lady who, she's not going to go punch anyone out. She would let people make their decisions and suffer and learn from the consequences. Now, I feel with this particular lady, she comes across, I feel with the grandparents, as a sense of the energy here. She comes across as being someone who's very, we might say, a bit coarse. But when it really comes down to it, this lady is all heart. You understand? On the surface, it's like this. So if she says something, quite hard, you know that she loves you. And she doesn't want to see anyone get hurt. I also want to say here that you were misled, are the words I'm hearing. So it'd be like if whoever you talked to for advice gave you, it's like intentionally giving you false information or misleading information. You believe it. You didn't know any better. But I do want to say here, the healing that you are seeking, because this is like just emotionally and on other levels here, really messed things up from the experience. That's going to be worked out here. I also just want to say that the gentleman comes in here, and I'm very 1960s, and I'm hearing that Here Comes the Bride type music. So, I do want to say here that they are going to hook you up in a situation that's, I want to say, permanent or long term. But I also want to say here, in the past, you looked for those types of things in the wrong places. So she's pleased that where you're looking now is actually a lot better. Now there's a young lady on the physical plane, like a sister. I feel I'm dealing with more of a friend or an acquaintance. I do want to say that I would listen to her suggestions of perspectives. I just feel that there's going to be some introductions here that will be made, and there'll be a lot here in common. And I just feel whatever her social circle would be. I also want to say, both the lady especially that I've been describing, she's very pleased that you're hanging out with those people. Okay, I just want to say that vibration in particular, where they're at, it's healthier for you. Now, someone is cutting up all this. They've messed up the entire kitchen counter, and they're cutting up food all around you. And I just want to say here, I do want to, when we talk about cooking or being a chef, it's very artistic and it's very creative. So there's two things, on a literal level as well as on a symbolic level with this. And I just want to say here, it's almost like I've cut up all this food, and I've cooked it all up, and it's turned out pretty lousy. It tastes pretty lousy. But I do want to say the way you're doing things now, it's going to actually turn out the right way. The other thing I feel with this, I feel like I literally want to make you a cook. I want to open my own restaurant, and I want to go with this. And I do feel there's a young lady, because I'm hearing that song, girls just want to have fun. And there's this young lady on the physical plane they're around you. Very, very, very good. Now, she's a bit spaced out. I wouldn't want to put her in charge of the money. I also would not want to put her in charge of hiring people, because she'd hire people who would probably take all the money. You need to be in charge of that. But very good with the promotional. And she just talks and talks and tells everyone everything. So be careful what you tell her in your personal life. You've told her too much already. You understand? Because she ends up telling other people. But I like the connection here, and I also want to say, you know, I mentioned, I joked about people being like psychic junkies. I feel she's a psychic junkie, but you are too. Okay, so you're going to be deeply getting into this stuff, and I do want to say that just because someone is, you know, they're a psychic or a medium, or they say they are, doesn't necessarily mean they really are. Do you understand what they tell you? I'm also getting the name of Anne, okay, which is a very common name, but that name also touches through here from the world of spirit, and you need to slow it down more, okay, because and that's in your car literally, but I also want to say here, you need to slow it down. It's like, you know, in a relationship, it doesn't get, I want revenge. I want to get back at this person. You need to just let this go, because they're going to get what they deserve, and you don't need to be the one that gives it to them, okay? So you understand what I'm talking about with that. Good, because I'm going to leave you with all of that and say, God bless you. And I could go on. It was like a soap opera. I mean, this is whole thing. All right, so I'm going to leave you with that and say, God bless you. Now, I've got to go.
Yes.
Okay, God bless you. Because, my gosh, there's all this energy around you, and there's a little dog that comes through here from this world of spirit, and I just felt it. I feel like it wants to curl up in my arms and my lap, and it wants to pass over. It'd be like if there was a dog that's hit by the car, and you're holding it, and it dies in your arms, but again, you held it. And I just feel here that I don't feel that I can prevent this dog from passing over. Yet I'm giving it, you know, energetically and emotionally the love it would have really needed. And I have a lady that comes through here from the world of the spirit that had so many, the kids with the shoe, she didn't know what to do. Now, this particular lady, you don't get a free ride. She's going to put you to work. I feel I'm dealing with, I'm not sure if it's a grandmother or who it would be, but I do want to say here, people wanted to get something for nothing. With her, that wouldn't have been the case. You're of a similar type of mindset as her. The other thing is, I feel, if you were interviewing me, you would have eyes that would see right through me. Do you understand? Because you'd see my character and you know my real motivation. And I feel here that you're going to choose me not because of popularity or because other people want you. It's because whether or not I'm actually qualified. And there are people around you who are your colleagues or your peers who, they don't like that. Because, hey, you hired this person, or you picked this person, and you didn't pick my friend. But their friend, the person they were favorable for, wouldn't have been the right type of person. Now, we sang that song, You Are My Sunshine. And I feel I want to sing it again and again and again. I felt like it was a whole group of almost like kindergarten-age kids. And they're all singing it. And I have a lady who was the best teacher there could have ever been in the world. And I mean, with this particular lady, you'd think that she would let you get away with murder. Because there wasn't a lot of fixed types of rules. And yet, if you were with this lady, you would learn the difference between right and wrong. You'd learn how to actually do things. And she does come through, and I feel almost like I want to do counting, or I want to do, arithmetic, math, this type of thing here. And I feel here, similarly, in a symbolic type of sense, on a physical plane level, the people who are around you right now, your peers, they don't really get it. But again, through how you were doing things, going back to what I was talking about earlier, you were teaching them. If you want something to be effective, you don't just hire, someone who you like. You actually need to put in someone who's qualified and capable for whatever the particular position would be. This makes sense to you, what I'm describing.
Yes.
Yes, just say yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it helps if you say yes.
Yes.
Open up, because we're talking on the phone or something. And someone didn't say anything, what happened? They'd hang up on you. So it's the same thing with spirit communication. Now, there's a young lady around you, like a friend or an acquaintance, coming to you and asking you for relationship advice. I want to say, you're very good, you're very psychic, and you give very good counsel yourself, but you need to send her to someone who's a professional. She's asking you to make decisions. And I just want to say here that you could give very good advice, she's still going to make a lousy decision. And this is really messed up. Now, there's also a man that comes through here from the world of the spirit. He's a younger gentleman. He took his own life. And it's almost like, I feel like I'm in a relationship type of situation, what he's been told. It'd be like some lady saying, oh, I love you, I'm going to be committed to you. And then you find out she's with someone else. And he took his own life. And he's writing me these really gushy, kind of corny types of poems. And I just want to say here, if I were a lady, and he's so sweet, but I wouldn't take him very seriously. and yet he meant well. And he overdoes it. He's doing all this. He's putting my stuff in his hair, gelling up. And they just thought he was like really, they just would not take it very seriously here. But he does come over here, and I just want to say here that the young lady's very confused. Very immature, very confused. But again, there's those types of thoughts. Do you understand about actually, I feel like I want to take, and I want to literally, almost I feel like I'm going to slip my wrists or something. But he does come in here from the world spirit, and he's all dressed up, trying to impress me. He's knocking at the door. And, I'm not sure what the relationship here is, but I feel if he were to meet you when you're younger, this guy's going to want to marry you. And he only knows you a little bit. Okay, you understand who I'm talking about with that?
It's strange what you're talking about because you're describing my father.
Okay, but you understand what I'm talking about, all right?
He died at 24.
All right, but anyway, this man's coming in here. And I just want to say that this guy, if I were a young lady, he's not going to try to touch me or grope me at all. Do you understand? I could go on a date. I'm safe with this guy. But he's corny. Women thought he was boring. I just want to say he's not a good conversationalist. He's also, I feel like he's stammering or stuttering, and you can ask about that. Do you understand? Because I'm having trouble getting the words out. And I want to go into the 1960s with a lot of these memories here. All right. I want to also talk about Vietnam. All right. I want to talk about connections there. And there's a man that comes in like a brother who's with him. And I just want to say here that this man was in Vietnam. He's also with a black gentleman that comes in here with him who he served with. I just want to talk about here, it's almost like this black person saved his life. They're together again, but he went over there. But this black person remembered him forever, who's also now in spirit. Okay, you understand? That's also within your own family vibration here. And I feel like I'm dealing with someone, he wanted to be the first to go in. I'm going to be right off the helicopters, and I'm going to go right in. It's for God, guns, and guts in America, this type of thing here. But I do feel it feels more like an uncle. But he's a bit like John Wayne. And I just want to say here that he loved the people there, he loved the culture, and he's interested in the religion. Because I feel like I'm going to some type of little Buddhist type of temple here. Now, you're going to be getting into this too. And there's a little lady that comes in here from, she's so petite. And I'm not sure if I'm Chinese or Vietnamese or what, but she would have been some, because she's lighting incense sticks. And I do want to talk about like what I would describe as Buddhist type of meditation. So you're going to be getting into some of that type of stuff yourself. And I feel very good with that, all right? Now, the gentleman that I described here that does come in here, because, both the black, but especially the other guy who's like the uncle, he's very much would have been interested in that stuff, is what I'm feeling here. So, and I'm going to give you they're little Buddhist books, but they're, it's got the calligraphy, and do you understand? Now, that's just to get the idea across. So you're going to be buying, or acquiring, I should say, some type of literature along those types of lines that you will relate to very well, and it will help you with the counseling work that you're actually doing. Do you understand the philosophy of life? So I'm going to, and I want to give you this they're like it's one of those heart things that has all the chocolates in it. Is that guy's giving it to you, and I just feel like I want to hug you, I want to hold you, and I want to do the mothering. He's going to take care of you. Do you understand? If you're a baby, he's going to take care of you, and this guy he's more like a girl in some way because he's so sensitive. Okay? The young guy who passed over the father. Okay, you understand that? But he's writing these, but he's got, his sense of humor is corny, but I like it. Yeah. And he's giving you a lot of popcorn here. So okay. I'm going to leave, but that makes sense to you what I'm describing.
Sort of, kind of, yeah. It just feels like different pieces coming from different places.
Well, there's different people here. Now, this is me for a moment explaining, I'll explain things a little bit. If I have someone coming in here from spirit, now what I was just describing here, there are like at least 3 different people with that. Do you understand? They came in on the same link. So I'm describing, if it's your father, the younger guy. I'm also describing the 2 people who would have connected to Vietnam. Okay, but they're coming in on the same link. Yeah. And one was like, the Vietnam one was like an uncle, but then the other was a black gentleman who I feel was a friend connected to him. That's what I'm feeling here. They would have served. And I just feel like race doesn't matter when there's, you're in the same trench or in the same combat type of situation. You watch each other's backs, are the words I'm hearing. Okay? So that stuff you can actually ask, because I just want to say there would have been connections with that black family, okay, because of the gentleman serving with the particular guy who I'm feeling is like an uncle, okay? Do you understand what I'm talking about with that? Yeah. And I just feel after, the fact, there were connections, those were kept up because of what took place, in Vietnam. Right. And it's almost like, they live on this side, and, it's not like maybe it's the common, connection of races. So. Please. Okay, I have a lady that comes to here from the World Spirit and a gentleman, and I felt like it's not a big boat, but I've got the the wheel of the boat. because I'm actually out of the ocean with this couple. And I just want to say she's the better sailor than him. She's the one who wants to be at sea. She's the one who's going to suggest to actually buy the boat. And I like this lady. I mean, I like them both as they come through, because I feel when I'm out on the ocean, I have the open water, the open space all around me, and it's very healing. And I feel with you, it's almost like, this may be a bit more symbolic than literal, but I feel like I want to just take you and put you on some type of boat where you don't have a lot of people around you, and you're just out there. And I just want to say here that you've been asking a lot of people around you on a physical plane, it's more like for advice, or, hey, what should I do with this? What do you think would be the best path? This type of thing. What they're suggesting here is, and I actually feel almost like you're asking the spirit world too, the same thing. They're not going to actually, in this particular case, tell you what you should do. I do want to say, and I said this to her about her being a healer, you're also a healer. Okay, and I feel very good with this. I also want to say here that you can't do two things at once. Now, right now, you're in a position here, and there seems to be not a lot of choices, or not a lot of, it's almost like I'm forced to be in this particular position. They're just saying here that you're going to need to be able to modify things in your own life where you can actually focus in on studying that are working. It'd be like if you wanted to go to medical school. You'd want to actually give yourself the time. You'd have to put in a lot of time, or allow that in your own life, so to speak. And I feel here that, in terms of whatever the education is, I just feel like I've reached this wall, and I can't actually go past, in terms of, so that you are going to actually need the more education, the further education or the further training. I feel very good with this. I also want to say here that, it'd be like asking, asking people externally for advice when you get the messages all the time from Spirit yourself. You can ask these, like her, you can ask whoever, but in actuality, the stuff is already coming in. And I'm seeing all these seagulls. I'm actually smelling the salt and tasting the ocean type of air. And this lady does come through. I mean, she's like the skipper. Now, there's a guy there too, but this guy was pretty incompetent when it came to running the vessel. She's the one who would actually do the steering, is what she's saying here. She comes in here. And that's in a literal sense about her own life when she was here, but it also has to do in a symbolic type of senses that, ultimately, you're the skipper of your life, and you're the one that has to make the decision, so to speak. And she's giving me a telescope out of all things. It's like one of these ones that I could just, fold up and probably put in my pocket. Now, that's something that's still involved here. I am being shown John F. Kennedy, so I want to go into the early 1960s, have the memories with this. But I do see this as being something they would have done recreationally. But to her, it was much more than recreation, because I feel it got her mind off of other things.
Sailing?
Yeah, it's like a yacht type of thing, or smaller type of boat. That's just the way I'm being shown here. Do you understand what I'm talking about? That you don't understand at all. You're going to have to ask your mom or dad, all right, about that. But I do feel it's like, early 60s type of period, all right, with that. But this makes sense when I'm describing, though, the guidance part. You can relate to that.
A little, yeah.
A little bit. Okay. Not a lot. It should be a little. Okay. I'm just feeling here that it would be like you could stay where you are right now in the next 20 years, and it'd be basically the same place. What they're suggesting here is in order to do what you need to do, and I do want to go into the healing field with you. Okay? You're going to need to get the schooling for that. That's what I'm feeling here. And I just feel like you need to explain to other people in your own life around you, hey, this is what I want to do. We need to make adjustments to allow me to do that. And you'll be glad you did. You're very good. And I just feel here that she comes in from the spirit world. I feel it's like she felt more, it's almost like she didn't feel in place on land. Her place was actually when she's on such a boat in the ocean is what I'm feeling here. I'm also getting like a Mag or Peg or some type of name like that as well that touches in with all of this. Now, I do feel, I'm not sure if I don't even feel that's really a grandmother. I'm probably going to some type of aunt of some sort or something like that. But she does come in here, and she's the one who is the head of the house. Okay? So, I guess I'd use the word feminist, or she's someone, who, she's going to put me in my place. I just want to say within our relationship. She is coming in with a gentleman, but this guy was incompetent. I just feel like if he was in charge of the boat, he would have damaged it. He wouldn't have known how to do it the right way. But she really was into this. She's very good at navigating it. Now, that's about her in a literal sense, but it has to do with your own life. And to get, from this point to the point, you need to pursue what you want to pursue. And I feel it'd be like going, I'm not saying it's literally medical school, but it's like that. If you go to medical school, you're talking about the next 8 years. It's kind of like that. And you have the intelligence to do it, whatever this is. It's not something which is, despite what other people might say who are going absolutely nowhere with their lives, you actually have the capability of doing this, and you need to do it. And I just feel I want to go in the next 2-year period, but I do feel you enroll in, even if, whether it's part-time or whatever, you are going to be enrolling in some type of program with this, and you'll be glad that you did. That's the sense I'm getting with that. Okay, but that makes sense to you.
A little.
Oh, good.
I guess it's something that I've talked to my friend about,
Okay.
but it wasn't really.
Well, that's what they're saying, okay? But she's just saying here that, you know, she's saying again that she would like to see you. It's like I want to put you on that boat. You know, you be in the position you on the behind the wheel, so to speak. And you need to make this decision, but you need to have the other. You need to have people's. They're not necessarily going to like that you're doing it, or agree with you doing it, but you need to get their backing. You understand, their support, even if they don't really want you to do it. See, I just feel this is, and I feel good with this. As she's coming in here. Does anyone have any questions they want to ask? Because this is a really good group. I'm really glad you were able to come too. I'm sorry that this man has been blocking your views.
No, that's okay.
I mean, this is a really good group of people.
Well, I kind of asked earlier, and I'm not sure if I really understood, even if you answered it, but
okay.
Like I thought we had read somewhere that souls and spirits and things can simultaneously be in the spirit world while being in the physical world. Like, when what you were describing to me, the spirit that's coming through to you, that's around me and stuff. I was just curious, if you think that it could be people that have passed that are also currently in my life that are alive, kind of thing.
No. If I described someone and I felt that they were a spirit person, they would be a spirit person coming through. Does that make sense? In other words, someone who's passed over. But usually, this is going back to what I was saying earlier, the way they describe themselves, it's about them, or even sometimes it's, it's going to sometimes relate either to the person I'm reading for or people around them. I understand there's certain things they're trying to get across with that information, which is why that's emphasized. Maybe in a different context they would come through a little bit differently or talk about other things. Just like what I said about the example, if you were an alcoholic, and then if I described your uncle, for example, let's say he came through and you had that problem, maybe you'd have a lot of the same characteristics as him, and you'd emphasize those same things because those patterns would be ones that would be holding you back or would be detrimental to you. So that would be that. But I mean, generally speaking, I mean, there are instances where you've had someone who, because we're spirits now, it's not like you become a spirit. We're not in physical bodies, we're eternal. You could have someone asleep or in a coma or something like this and come through, mediumistically. But obviously, if she's right here, right now, I'm not going to channel her, am I? Can you imagine that? Like you're going to split apart. But she probably traveled, and we all do. We travel over our body when we're asleep. We go places, and eventually something's going to happen. This body's going to deteriorate or fall apart, and then you continue. So the way you communicate is telepathically.
Now, so you can only have one body at one time, or?
Well, you have a spirit body, but no, it's not like you're in 2 places at once, or 5 places at once. Although, when you're off your body, sometimes you can have that awareness. I can think of being out of the body and being aware of my physical body and being aware of that simultaneous as, being aware of in a subtle body, and actually, almost like being in 2 places at once, which is called bilocation.
I thought it was really interesting. He nailed it right on the head about my personality, and one of the spirits that he contacted, I think, really was my dad. He was big into cars, and he pretty much nailed it that in my relationships I'm a little domineering and stubborn, and it's got to be my way, and so I thought it was very helpful.